interesting topic, something that you probably don't notice, but it's bothering you. Who has generational trauma? Tell me. The topic is about information that is unintentionally transferred from generation to generation and affects all areas of our life. And it's not everyone. Hello. Yeah, I'm streaming all the platforms. So hello. Okay, good. So generation, as you know, or you may not know, but the information, your cells hold the information from life and sometimes even more generation for you. Why it's happening? Because your mind is supposed to hold the information about survival from the past. So whoever is joining, please let me know whether you have something that you cannot resolve. Is there something that you have had since birth, for example? Maybe you had like a physical symptom that you birth. Please let me know. Also, if you have problems that you tried a lot of things, you've tried the healing, different types of stuff, and you still feel like it's there. So it's not a side effect. It's not that you don't want to change. You really honestly want to change, but nothing helps. Let's figure out what it is. It can be a generational trauma. How to recognize, how to understand that you have generational trauma. And not everyone, but most of us do. So what is it? How does it show up in our life? Down if you have comment whether in your life that you've been with for many years, and no matter what you do, not helping. So as our cells are holding the information about 5 to 7 generations, can you how far back you might have information in your DNA? Yes, that's true. You're right. You're absolutely right. Cancer. Okay. Cancer could be experience, could be a lifelong changes in the cells, like a long-term changes in tissues and cells. So it's not always trauma, but if you have a belief that all of the generations before you, like 3 generations before you had cancer, that you might have manifested it. If you do have, don't take it personally. Don't think that if you do, you will have cancer because of the generational trauma. No, it's all about the belief, all about the beliefs. So relationship. Okay, on Instagram, I don't see anything yet, but on I can see from YouTube, I guess, right? About relationship, yes. And we'll talk about the conflicts that trigger the conflicts from the generations. Like, for example, if there was no male figure, father figure for a couple of generations before you, like women were raising kids by themselves. Either father was absent or ran away, and so the mothers from generations raised the kids by themselves. Might hold and transfer that information. We don't need men. We don't need them. No. We can do everything by themselves. Amazons, right? Amazon's conflict, right? I'm strong, I'm capable, I can do anything, right? Since then, the child can grow up and believe in somehow unintentionally that why I'm holding everything, I'm carrying everything on my shoulders. Why I always want to be strong, I always do everything by themselves. Please remember that if you cannot resolve, you try a lot, but you cannot resolve, you might have generational trauma. How to understand if you do have it or not. So maybe you say, I don't allow myself to be happy. I don't allow myself to be. none of my generations were happy, so I can't be happy. And it's unintentional. Don't all subconsciously and unconsciously, you consciously believe that if a couple of generations before me were not happy, that I'm happy. I can be happy as well. It's not possible. It's not available to me. So please, sure, ask if there is visitor, ask, or you can kind of trace back how generations felt, how they developed, how they grew. Wealth, money, success, about relationship, health, everything affects us as well. And we are all connected, but you have the power to change, by the way. No matter how much of the generational trap, you are able to change that. Another, care of parents neglecting your own needs, because from generation to generation, it's the cultural thing sometimes, who is immigrants, or sometimes from cultures that are like used to, you have to help your parents. You're growing up and then you're taking care of the parents, and the generations before have been doing that. Like for example, I'm from Ukraine. Families still have that belief. A lot of, not some, but a lot of families still have that belief that the child is, we are growing into a credit, like put it on a credit card, putting that child on and then it will pay off. So remember that if you are neglecting your own needs, generation to generation, mothers or fathers in your line were also neglecting their needs. And of course, you will have that information as well. It doesn't mean that it will be activated 100%. But if you are in that environment, be activated. Who doesn't know about epigenetics, please research it. Please look a little bit about it, because it plays how you can gain back your power and believe that you can change anything. Another thing is at your generation. If you have a big resentment at your parents, even like rejection. For example, people who are, let's just say, I'm just taking one culture, for example, Mexican, Indian, and immigrating, they start to reject that culture completely, right? They're still in a new culture, in a new reality. It means that there is a lot of pain there, a lot of something that they don't agree with. So you might have a generational trauma if you have a huge resentment of your generations before. Please think about it, how you perceive your grandparents, how you perceive your parents, how you perceive your nation, right? Your religion, if your parents and grandparents and generation before were having that. So please do that, and to understand, oh, this is why. Maybe because I'm just like, don't like something because my generation were suffering. Yeah, maybe generations before me were suffering. Another thing is slavery, discrimination, dictatorship. Any of your generations before have been war zone, discrimination, slavery. That memory, that survival brain, will remember that, so all the so it's either you stagnate or you grow. You remember, I was talking in all my videos and even in my YouTube. So two outcomes, how the generation either dies, the line, right? The line dies, or the line grows. So your line, your generation, right? It can grow. It can grow. And in order to grow, you need systems. And you adopt survival mechanisms from your line, ancestral line, right? So when you do that, you adopt good and bad survival mechanisms. Some good things are like creativity, picture of the world. There are so many of them that are bad, right? There are some, so for example, not trusting people, not trusting man, or not trusting. if you have a deep distrust when your parents were saying bad, they're all cheating, or men are all bad, they're all cheating. If you have heard about it when you were growing up as a child, and trauma, distrust, right? Maybe there was something, and then you start to believe in that well. So you need to clear, put your ancestral line behind you, not in front of you when you're walking. It really affects your life at all. So many times it's in front of us. We put our parents, grandparents, and other lines in front of us, like it's blocking us. It's blocking us. So money blocks, abundance blocks. Who has money blocks, abundance blocks? I do, and I'll tell you how it shows up. So my generation was in poverty, like the people be me, like my grandparents, grandparents either died in war, were in genocide, and either they died from poverty or they lived in a restricted, limited environment, right? So it's never enough. Feeling of never enough. Sometimes we do the healing. We do lots of affirmations, visualization, telling ourselves, I have enough, and you still don't believe in that. It could generations before you also had that I am not enough, I don't have. So if that is the case, you might believe that more is available to me. I can have more. I can be more successful, happier, or wealthier than my ancestral line. A lot of people consciously, like I had a friend who would tell me like, that's not true. I don't believe in that. Me back 2 weeks later and told me, you're right, Kate. I actually unconsciously don't allow me to make more money because of that. Because my granddad money always struggled. My parents always struggled. Never enough. We won't survive. And I have it as well. Maybe just holding myself back from like opens. It could be. You can clear that for sure. And I'll tell you why and how. Another thing is sexual problems. If you sexual problems, lack of libido, premature ejaculation, impotence, infertility, if infertility reasons. Infertility can have physiological reasons and psychological. You know, when people do tests and everything is great. Both partners do tests and everything looks great. Everything, blood, everything, compatibility is perfect. And they have children. One of the reasons could be generational trauma. All the programs, ancestral, like all the programs from the past to be until the generation can go on, the lifeline can go on. So make sure that you have someone, if you have friends who are struggling with that, please share with them. I had 5 clients who had generational trauma, infertility, and 3 of them are pregnant after 7, I think 5 years and like 2 years, and they couldn't figure out what it is. Psychological. One was abuse, right? Abuse from generation. The other one was there was no father figure in the family at all for 3 generations. No figure. One cheated, another one died in war, and I think one just left them when the baby was very small. So generation from generation, mothers raised the kid by themselves. It's like you don't need. So that could cause you. I have a child into this world because what if my partner leaves me unconsciously, intentionally? Don't remember that your logic, the one that you're listening to me now with, is 5%. 5%. This is how you information from me, but 95% is all of that programming from the past, and it doesn't take time. So that's why you're like, well, it should be fine. But no, it still holds all of that in your mind. Your mind never forgets, never forgets. It's feeling guilt and shame. So feeling guilt and shame for whatever happened to you in childhood. And then you find your dad also felt shame and guilt for whatever happened. And your grandparents, if you ask your parents, also had and shame, right? Guilt is very deep rooted feeling, you know, that in every area of our life. And like, it's such a painful feeling. By the way, it's a painful feeling. It's here and it's in the thoughts, ruminating thoughts, right? Guilt and shame live in your head. And so this deep, it's like this sadness, this deep sadness. What if I said something wrong? Generational trauma could be. I'm not saying that it's 100%. No, but it's one of the reasons. If you've already so many methods of therapy and treatment, it could be that you might have programs that you need to clear. That's possible as well. So let's look, and I have my notes with me. So, and I play, so you can watch it at your time whenever you want, and you can get like play faster, which is what I do. So one of them is conflict. Amazonian women, who remembers from the movie, people who I can do everything by myself. We don't need men. We don't need them. They're dangerous. They're not reliable. If your grandmother, your mother had that belief that we'll do everything by themselves, and in many, because there were so many wars happening long ago that many fathers died. They just died. Or so it's very possible that many generations grew up without father figure, and then you grow up, whether you are female or male, or you don't identify as any gender, doesn't matter, it's applicable to anyone, then you might have problems for not trusting man, always jealous, always suspicious, pushing them away. Both sides, man will push and man will push women, and women will push men away. So that could happen as well. So you hold information in your mind, in your unconscious mind. You remember I was talking about your mind, your logic, 5%, and the rest is conscious and unconscious. Subconscious mind, you can access it. Meditations, hypnosis, Reiki, healings, quantum healings. There are so many methods that you can access, but unconscious mind, you cannot access that. But that holds a lot of power. How you can do that is by accessing your subconscious mind. You do that, the more it uncovers from the deepest unconscious programming. So only by accessing subconscious mind, access unconscious mind. Like unfortunately, if you want to do that, you first have to uncover everything in the subconscious mind. By the way, subconscious mind talks to you in dreams. Whoever has dreams and nightmares, just dreams, by the way, those fears, I will tell you about my fear. I very often I dream about walking on the ice field, like ice field with the cracks in between, and my child falling inside. And I know, right, somewhere from the movies, I remember my mom that you cannot get there. It's like very deep, right? And I see that my child, my son Marco, is falling there, right? So fear for losing a child. Already worked so much on that, but I still have fear of losing a child to some accidents, something that is out of my control, right? So I try to keep them safe, but there are things that are out of my control, something that keeps coming back. So this is my unconscious. So even though I realize that, I'm not a control freak, I'm not a perfectionist, I don't have OCD, Like I'm very easygoing, I have a good mass at my house. I'm like very easily let go, but still have that fear, right? Why? Because to uncover my generational trauma, right? I had in my generation there are kids who died by accident. So died falling. I think one was falling. Like there were some kids that died in my generations just by accident, come into my dream, though no one told me. I had to ask my parents for that, and I don't have grandparents, so I cannot ask them, but people started to tell me, right? Oh yes, you did have that. There was a suicide as well, right? I had suicide in my ancestral line, so that could also come to you in your dreams. So your dream smile, it will talk to you. It was deepest fears. Sometimes it's going to be a movie scenario the movie that you watched, and you're in that movie, but it will represent the fears that you have, the deepest fears. Let's go further. So Amazonian conflict, right? Amazonian is there is no trust to men. So women were raised that you might have those problems in your relationship, push away. Another one is parents. So abuse. So in generational trauma of then you can see a partner as a very dangerous figure that they can do. And in many times we attached to that familiar, right? We attach the only thing we know, or we might have social anxiety, like we are hiding away from any social anxiety. Very often has generational trauma. So people who are hiding from the world, they have years and decades and generations, that abuse, neglect, emotional, whatever it was. So how you can work with is usually by meditation, a specific meditation to clear the generational trauma, where you visual, like you're putting the people from your generations, you imagine them, you visualize them, but you put them in front of you and you say everything you need to say, everything that you kind of resolve it. It's like, I am not you. I have my own life path. I respect you. By the way, forgiven your generation, forgiven your ancestors, right, is also crucial. Even towards the parents who abused you. I'm sorry, it's hard to say that. Lots of people forgive, they hold resentment for many, many years, but until you let it go, until you realize that everything that was supposed to happen to make you the way you are, grow, and you can evolve, then it will be really hard to overcome generational trauma. So forgiveness, but at the same time, before forgiveness, you need to tell them, think about them, how much it affected your life, right? Trauma. So healing comes from, it's possible to heal, by the way, and never think that, I'm from generations of like alcoholics or drug addicts. When the baby's born, they always have a chance to clear the line. And this is the purpose, actually. Some people say, what's the purpose in life? What's the purpose? The purpose is to make generation is better than what it was before. So the healing, right? Healing, self-discovery, self-love, self-healing journey, whatever, name it, but it is there. So Amazonian conflict with dangerous male conflict. How it will show up, this conflict, that dangerous males are dangerous, men are dangerous, then man will have sexual problems, right? Man can have sexual problems, premature ejaculation, infertility, so and women will have libido, right? Because they shut down their sexuality. generational trauma. So I'm not saying that it's always like that. We're just talking about generational trauma. There are so many physiological, biological reasons, and if you've already uncovered those, if already resolved those, and you still have the problem, it's time to go deeper. Time to go deeper. Thank you, Lydia. Thank you. I know. When I started, so the levels to awakening. First level of awakening. How do you get to that generational trauma? How can you get to the heal? First of all, what you do is you are realize that you start to look at people around you. It can be different, right? Healing, it started to happen. Then you probably put button. So you hit a very difficult time in your life, tough time, when you realize something needs to be done. It can't go on anymore. Then you start to heal. So first, you heal the whatever shocking moments experience that you had, starting to realize I can love myself, I can change it. And you have a hope that you're not hopeless like you did when you were a child. Then you start to heal your subconscious programming to the childhood trauma, right? Reprogramming those, changing the meaning. And then you might go to the womb, right? Who are opening up their sensibility, womb, so they heal what is happening in the womb by themselves. Why it's so important to heal the womb period. For example, mom didn't want you, or me, or whoever want you, so she wanted to do it. So like she was trying to do, for example, but you still came into this world. You might have the memory, I'm not wanted, I wasn't supposed to be here. What's the point to be here? Work on the going back to the womb. I usually go to that moment if I see like I'm not wanted, I wasn't supposed to be here, I want to be small, I want to be unnoticed. And when the client did a lot of healing, I know I have to go into the womb. So you heal that trauma. What was happening in mom's life when she got pregnant, when she were conceived? Did she want you? How was the relationship between mom and dad, or mom and man? So what was there? And when you do that, you might go and clear ancestral programming. So that's the healing, right? And then you can uncover so many things about yourself. So many things, that unlimited potential that people talk about. There are some methods that you can work in the moment. Some people don't want to go back and regress them to those emotional, they don't have parents sometimes. By the way, you grew up in a foster care, adopted parents, it's still your generation still matters. Your ancestral line still matters. Work with it without even knowing your parents. Because the feeling is still there. The feeling is still there. So poverty conflict, one of the most important one. I'm not the most important one, but the one that you can notice the most. Poverty conflict. Grew up in poverty, slavery. So, for example, Black Lives Matters movement, right? How many people do have generational trauma? This discrimination. So many people do because they still remember that they were no one. They felt like they were not this world, suppressed, abused. So if the generation, right, before you were suppressed, repressed, abused, and you might have scarcity, right? Scarce mentality. It's never going to be enough. I am never going to be the. So please think about what's the story of your life, because it is connected. Everything is good. So poverty, conflict, scarce mentality. It's never enough. Money blocks. Yes, thank you. Money blocks. What else? Feeling not wanting to. You cannot. because you've never been an entrepreneur. Your ancestral line was an entrepreneur. And then you're like, well, how can I be? I don't know it. I don't know that mindset. So it's a skill. You develop that mindset then. You can develop any mindset you ever want. That's why you came into this world, to change what was for. You can change the meaning, for sure. So slavery, war, migration. If, by the way, your generations before you moved a lot low, then the child will be born and they can feel like they don't belong to any place. They will move as well. Or they will want to stay in one place and don't want to do anything. It's like, I don't know why I cannot move anywhere. I want to, but I cannot, right? So what was with migration, moving around, right? If your generations before you migrated, a child sometimes is born and they don't even know. They grow up and they're like, I don't feel like I can't find a place for myself. I can't find my home, right? They look, they move, live in different countries. That's also generational programming. So it needs to be uncovered as well. How was your parents moving a lot as well, right? Or I don't know what was there, because it's individual. It will depend, but it will affect the way you feel. So these deep feelings of unwanted, is here. I don't realize why I'm here. It's never enough. Never enough. I'm stupid. All of my ancestral line will never someone. There was no one in my ancestral line, so I cannot. Somehow, sometimes people have great ideas that could become great and successful, but they still believe that no one in my family was ever smart. Family was ever great, so I won't be as well. But you can change it, right? You can change it. So devaluation conflicts as well. I am nothing. I am nothing. Could be a byproduct of generation. I am nothing. I'm not worthy, right? Sometimes also from abuse, from generations. So how work on ancestral programs? How can you do that? How can you work on generational trauma? You can do it, as I said, meditations, guided meditations. You can find them maybe on YouTube. Better doing like individual work with someone who can guide you in generational trauma, even without having any information from you. It's possible, because all the information is in you. You'll have the feeling, and that's enough. The feeling, we're working with the feeling, right? And then out of it. Second one, that method, hypnotherapy, right? Uncovering whatever is, right? So that's really good. Educating yourself on, like, just knowing body holds the information from generations before you will give you a big realization. This is why I'm pushing people away. I cannot succeed in business. This is why I'm always like struggling. This is why I never had home. I never felt any place would be my home. So generational trauma, addicts, right? Addicts as well. But this is very known. I'm pretty sure you all know that, right? It is a generational trauma as well. It's absolutely not something that the child, like, oh, I choose, or drinking, or taking drugs. No, there has to be something really, really painful, really, really unimaginably painful for the child to start connecting when they grow up with the drugs and alcohol. So generational trauma, right? Addictions, evaluation. I'm not good enough. I don't think devaluation as well. Back pain, muscle pain, bone pains, arthritis, all come from devaluation. It's a devaluation conflict. giving you a little bit of a I'm going to do that live actually about that. So when your body is conceived, right, you have embryo. The first step is the digestive system. So everything you digestive system is a survival conflict, right? Survival conflict. The muscles and bones. So that will be devaluation. I don't think I'm a good father. I don't think I'm a good mother. I don't deserve a better job. I don't think I can have this. So devaluation conflicts. And skin, the last one, skin and lymphatic system, by the way, as well. It's also social conflicts. So eczema, dermatitis, right? That's social conflicts. The last tissue, the last system that develops in, so it will be touch connection, right? So everything with you is confidence, connection. My mom left me in daycare. I'm tired, right? So whatever it is, it's the separation conflict. I can't, right? Touch feelings. People, kids who are adopted, people who are in kids who are in foster care as well might have a lot of problems with their eyes as well. By the way, I cannot see. Generational trauma, I cannot see. By the way, have health issues were developed or they were born with. By the way, genetic conditions, the womb, go into the womb, right? Doing that can release. You can not cure genetic condition, but some of them you can. But you can make it relieve the symptoms and make yourself more at peace. So please, you want to overcome generational trauma. The thing you need to know is you can. Even if healing was very easy, like everyone would do it. Everyone, it would be like, I don't know, bananas in the store, right? No, healing is painful. But it's not as painful as that stagnation moment, that stuck that you are in if you don't decide to heal, right? So this is very important. I wish you all the best. I covered everything. If you need more, please write down, comment below, watch the replay. I'm going to post it now about generational trauma, something that you can know, but if you know, you can work on it. Please, please, please be healthy emotionally and physically. Heal, and that's the best part of being an adult. Bye.